Please welcome, and gentlemen, excuse me, Bill Taylor.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure being here and seeing all you lovely ladies and a few gentlemen also. It's a real pleasure to be here. I do need to let you know, my book it took me 3.5 years to write it. It was very emotional, and I probably should have called it 1,000 Tears. What it is, it's a story of the 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines, Charlie Company. And there's about 1,000 actual combat soldiers in a battalion. And when I went over to Vietnam, it turned out that I ended up joining this particular battalion. It was called Special Landing Force Alpha. And Special Landing Force Alpha was the newest weapon to defeat the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong. And so we were trained, we trained how to get on, off and on all different types of ships. And then our rear area was the USS Okinawa. So what we were going to be was the surprise battalion, the battalion that went in to really kick boot, you know what I mean? We went in, and so you'd have one battalion coming this way, you'd have another battalion coming this way. And of course, the North Vietnamese would flood this way, and they knew nobody was there. But we flew in off the USS Okinawa, and we usually fly in about a company at a time. So that's like 250 men. We set up the perimeters just like you see in the movies, and then we would wait for the other helicopters to come in, and then we would set up, and then we'd set up our positions to wait for the Viet Cong or the North Vietnamese that were coming. And you know, when you're in this type of a battalion, you're in constant combat. And when I completed my tour in Vietnam, I mean, I had PTSD. I had all this stuff going on with me, just like a lot of other guys. I'm sure everybody here knows somebody that's come back from war. They're not the same. Now, I will tell you, if you read my book, you will get it. You'll totally understand. I get letters, I get emails from people all over the world saying, thank you so much for writing this book. And one young girl, she wrote me and she said, I hope I don't get emotional, but she said, thank you for writing it because, you know, I never understood my dad, and I don't know why he was the way he was, and I don't know why he drank so much. And so I was mean to him. And she said, I read your book, and now I have to go apologize. So that's what this book is about. It's not all about fighting. It's not all about war. It's not about, what it's about is the interactions with people and the Vietnamese people, and going in as a naive, just a young guy who doesn't know what he's doing, and then slowly start realizing how to fight a war. I mean, you don't want to die. You just want to keep going. And as you're going along and all these other guys are dying, and then all of a sudden, I ended up getting 3 Purple Hearts. I ended up getting 2 Presidential Unit Citations. And the Presidential Unit Citations are for battles like the Battle of Iwo Jima, or the Battle of Saipan, or the Normandy invasion. That's when you get a Presidential Unit Citation. We were in the Vietnam battles the same way. And I just feel so lucky to have survived. So I remember that point in my life where I came to the point where I had to start realizing what was going on in Vietnam. And I said, you know, who are we fighting? We're fighting the North Vietnamese. And we're fighting the Viet Cong. Who were the Viet Cong? They're the South Vietnamese. Well, I thought I was there to help these people, and yet they're trying to kill me. And so it became a matter of survival at that particular moment in time. I only knew that I could count on the men next to me, and I had to make it through this 13 months. Why I made it, I don't know. I think the Lord wanted me to write this book. And it's touching so many hearts. That's why I'm here. I mean, why would all these ladies be asked to, you know, why don't you buy this war book? you know, it's not a love novel or something like that. But actually, the women that do read it are touched by the message that I give. And I feel very proud to have written such an unbelievable book. So with that, I just want to say thank you. And I think this is such an incredible organization. And I can't thank you enough for being here. Thank you. Very good.
Can you join me here?
Sure.
Do you have time for a couple of questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Good, because I'll let you sit here.
Oh, okay.
That's all right. I make the adjustment. Okay. Well, as someone who knows a thing or two about love novels, as you say, I very much found your book fascinating and compelling, and thank you for writing it.
Oh, I didn't know you read it, so
yes.
yes.
I read all your books, yes. So I have to ask you, what you said that this idea to write this came out of because you told your children these stories. What did they think when they read the book?
Well, you know, my daughter was the one, so I published the book, and she didn't read it. And
Really?
and I said, you know, I'm a little saddened by the fact that my daughter's not reading it. All these people are reading my book, my daughter's not reading it. And so I was talking to her, and I said, you know, I'm a little hurt. You didn't read it. And she said, I can't. She said, you know, you're my dad. And I can't imagine what you went through. So, but she did finally read it. And I was very, you know, my son read it, you know, my family's all read it now. And now I'm meeting people all over that have read it, and they come up to me and go, oh my gosh, what an incredible book. And I'm so touched by it. It took me 3.5 years, and I wanted to make it the best I possibly could. And I did hire a couple of really good editors. They helped me. And, you know, what's funny is I wrote the book, and after writing it and editing, and I mean, the process of editing is ridiculous. It goes on and on and on and on. So, and after going through this, I found out that it was very healing for me. That as I was going through, I cried less and less and less. And now I can start talking about the stories. I'm being asked to go to book clubs, ladies book clubs. And what's amazing is I thought, ladies book clubs, that's interesting. And so what happened was I get to the book club, and the place is just mobbed. They didn't even have enough chairs for me. And it turned. They had enough wine, though. Pardon me? They had enough wine. Yeah, so did I. So, you know, what I found out was that the women, you know, because it's a book club, you have to read it. And all of them read it, and they were so touched by the book, they gave it to their husbands. And the husband said, I want to be there. So it turns out that a lot of the husbands ends up coming to these book clubs too. And then we go through the questions and answers, and you wouldn't believe, I mean, it's just like I sit there for, you know, they say, oh, we're only going to have this for about, you know, half an hour or 40 minutes or something like that. And I end up 3 hours later walking out the door because they just are they have so many questions about the book and what happened, and you know, do you know what's going on with these people today? And of course, everybody in the book, they are an actual character, and in some cases, I had to use you know, names that I couldn't use those names because I wouldn't want to embarrass the families of those men. But you know, one thing about my book, it's about the truth. There's no hurrah charging up the hill. There's none of that. It's everybody was, you know, really scared. And I remember the first time I was fired at, it was just like, it wasn't like we trained, that's for sure, when someone's got an AK-47 and they're shooting automatically at you,
That makes me think of my other question for you was, you know, we just had Veterans Day last week. What does it mean to you when somebody says, thank you for your service? How does that, I know, I'm very curious. I've asked my dad this question, he served in the Navy.
Oh gosh, you have no idea. You know, it means so much, especially to the Vietnam veterans. You know, I remember coming home and I had to put my, I'll give you the experience. I'm writing a screenplay right now, and at the end of the screenplay, it's going to be the planes landing in California, and it taxis up to the terminal. And of course, they used to bring the stairs to the planes, and they opened the door, and we all would get out. And here I come off in my uniform, and I break the line, and I get on my all fours, and I kiss the ground. And I stand up, you know, and I got this big smile on my face. I get it back in line. I'm now walking into the terminal, and I wasn't in there 30 seconds when a college kid yelled at me, "Look at the baby killer." And it's like, you know, when you read the book, you'll see I was not a baby killer. I was a great soldier and did the best I could for this country. But, you know, what I did is the smile went off my face. I looked at him, and I had a tunnel vision at him. And then it kind of went blurry. And then as it started to come closer to me, it was coming back in green, and I was right back in Vietnam. So that's the way that I've got the screenplay play planned in my head. That the end of it is, you know, you go through all this, you're surviving, you're making it through, you're doing the best you can, you're being the best soldier you possibly can, and then come home and then have that happen. So when you say, I went to Fort Worth, Texas with the 3rd Marine Division Association, and everybody on the street, thank you for your service, thank you for your service. And you know what, I actually go up and shake their hand and say, thank you so much. That means so much to me because, you know, we really had a bad deal when we first came home. And it's just the way the country was then, that's all, you know. I mean, I know that all those people that were against the war, they were against everything about the war, and that made them against us too. So,
well, that was the first war that we saw on television.
Right, right.
Well, I want to say thank you for writing this book.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming today and helping us raise funds for these families that you're going to help by being here, and thank you for your service.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Give me a hug.
I have a hug or two. Thank you so much.
Thank you.